Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network. And we are joined with Blessed Be Bodywork. Jennifer Knowles here now. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Great. It's a pleasure to have you on the show. Would you mind introducing yourself to our viewers and listeners today?
Yeah, my name's Jennifer Knowles, and I'm an energy intuitive and body worker, and I live in Longmont, Colorado. I work with bodies. I work with energy as well, so I can do that at a distance and also in person. So I think one of the things that is really important is that when the body is going to make a change, that the body's on board. So many times people can go through talk therapy, things like that, and nothing changes. But once you access the body wisdom, then the body is able to, it's kind of a slow process, but once the body feels the change, then you're able to actually make that change in real life. My business is called Blessed Be Bodywork, and I'm the owner and only employee at this time. I started off as a massage therapist.
That's what I was going to ask. I read that. It's important, I think, for people to find out more about you and how you got started. And also off the top, I just want to point out, do you have a website we could share with everyone as well?
I do, yeah. It's blessedbebodywork.com.
Perfect.
So
tell us a little bit more.
Bodywork.com, yeah.
Great. So tell us how you got started and got into massage therapy, I guess, to begin with.
Oh, yeah. So I always knew I wanted to be a massage therapist. And, I got my undergrad degree in English, and it was just always my calling. I knew that there was something in this world I needed to do. And so I went through massage school, and that kind of taught me how to read bodies. And so just looking at someone, I can kind of read their skin tone, their body language, certain things like that. And then actually doing the massage piece, really helped to kind of hone in on my physical skills with, touching bodies, that kind of thing.
Wow. So would you also consider yourself then an intuitive as well? Are you an empath? Did you know this at a young age? Is this?
I think I knew that I was, but I didn't really know what that was called. I knew I was different than other people, because I can feel energies, and when I walk into a room, I'm like, oh, this is happening here, this is happening there, and I don't see energy necessarily, but it's just kind of like a knowing in my body. And I can also kind of feel vibrations of energies.
Wow.
So yeah, that's a part of it too.
Super cool. So I don't know what the word is, but there's that clairvoyance, there, clair, ascension, clair, they're all the clairs. So you're more of a know-how feeling. Yeah. I don't know what that's called. It's clair something, right?
Yeah. Well, so I would say I'm clairsentient, pretty.
Sentient, yeah, that's the word.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so that's a big piece. And for a long time, people would be like, oh, you're so sensitive, you're shy, you're this, you're that, because I was kind of a shy kid, but there was this whole world that I was aware of that no one else was. And so, I think parents get kind of scared by that sort of thing, when their kids oh, this is happening. And they're like, what are you talking about? So they kind of shut that down. And so it's my 30s were spent kind of developing this sense and being more aware of it and almost celebrating that part of me, because it is an asset to be sensitive to things.
But it also so
now that's part of my work, which is so fun.
But was it also difficult? I mean, as a young child, would you say, maybe when you were younger, was it difficult to handle that, that extra sense and feeling in a sense, if that makes any sense?
Yeah, I think I kind of shut it down for a while, like when I
Yeah.
was super young, like up until age 10, I was like, I was just being a kid, blah, 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 playing and, was really connected to nature, to the outside world, things like that. And then I feel like it kind of shut down. And I think that that's part of my mission, is to help people like me, who are told by society that, this isn't okay, that, many people that are sensitive feel like they're an outsider, or that, they're weird, or, but really it's, something called, have you heard of HSP, highly
No.
sensitive
Oh, highly
people?
sensitive person or people. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. So that, like, learning about that kind of changed my life, because it's like, this is an innate thing that I was born with. And so, it's just, I'm more sensitive to light, to
Yeah.
sounds, to social interactions. Like being in crowds can be hard, and so this has taken me some time to sort of learn how to manage my energy, and to realize like what's mine and what's outside of my energy bubble.
Yeah.
And so I really find joy in helping other people, because when you're in that place, you feel kind of alone. You're like, oh my gosh, I feel all this stuff, I don't know what to do with it, so yeah, I really like helping other people that, maybe on a similar path or in a similar situation.
Got it.
So
And when you talk about energy work, are we talking, do we say the word Reiki, or is that, what type of energy work do you do?
yeah,
Is that what it is, where you have
yeah.
the
So
chakras?
yeah, that's a part of it. Like, when I started doing Reiki, I was like 18. So I've been doing that for over 20 years.
Oh, wow.
And and so the idea about Reiki is that there's energy everywhere. And what I'm doing when I'm doing Reiki is pulling it through my body and then into the client, right? And so you can do that in person, or you can do it from a distance. Um, and I also do polarity therapy, which is a little more in depth. It's got this 5 element theory thing, and it was developed by an osteopath, and he drew all these elaborate images of the human body and the ways that the energy kind of moves through the body. And
Mm-hmm.
so when I learned that, it was great, because Reiki was awesome and I did that. It's kind of a way of life for me. But then once I learned this other modality, it kind of explained all the other things I feel, like I get images, or, like just a sense of there a quality or an element,
Wow.
like fire, water, air, earth, that kind of thing. Like I can tell if someone's really earthy, and then like, if they are, or fiery, whatever, then that would give you certain strengths or weaknesses, because it encompasses all things. Like there's like the dark and the light, there's yin and yang, there's
Yeah.
so yeah, so polarity therapy is amazing. I mean, I could just learn and learn and learn forever. I probably wouldn't even know all of it. So that's exciting to me, because I love to learn new things too. And then I also do cranial sacrotherapy, which is it works with the cerebral spinal fluid, and like our brain is encased in this bone, and then there's like a space around that, and then there's fluid around that, and that fluid has a rhythm to it. And so yeah, so working with that, and there's a huge trauma component, like certain things can get stuck in our body.
Yeah.
And
From not only from childhood, but from like past lives. Is that true? Is that something you could
oh
help
yeah,
work
definitely.
on someone
Yeah,
with to heal?
yeah, past lives, yeah, even someone, some people could have like a trauma in womb, even, that they don't even remember. And then you can access that place, and then offer resources, and then the person can feel like, oh my gosh, my whole life has opened up, because I no longer have this blockage of something that I didn't even know was there, like
Wow.
feeling unsupported or something.
Got it.
So yeah, that it and so I kind of combine the three. um And you can also do these things at a distance, which is great. You know, I feel like as a society, we're kind of moving towards the quantum, like quantum physics,
I
right?
know
But
I've heard of
like,
quantum physics. I'm not sure what that is. I don't think I've ever
yeah,
taken it before.
yeah. Well, so I mean, I haven't either, but that you know, there we can borrow ideas from that, that things can exist, you know, through time and space, or like in
Oh,
different realms. And
okay.
so like if you change something, like you were talking about past life, change something in this life, you know, it can affect your past life or your you know, next
Mm-hmm.
life, or you know, things can exist without a physical like location, I guess.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's fantastic. And this work can be done through Zoom right here, like we're talking right now, right? Over the
Right.
phone. Because
Yeah.
energy is, how do you explain that to someone? Because some people might say, well, would feel better coming in person. And of course, they live near you, they could get a hands-on session, but it really is the same thing.
Yeah.
And some people are just flabbergasted by that concept.
Yeah. Well, so you can affect energy from a distance, you know. Um, One of the things that I do is I'll use like a quote unquote energetic hands on someone's, you know, heart or pelvis part of their body. And
Mm-hmm.
one of the biggest things about doing it from a distance is getting permission, number one, and also that they can sense in their body where they need the work.
Got it.
Um, so, you know, you ask them, okay, so turn your attention in, and then like something will light up in their body. And that's really important to follow what their body needs, because, and what their body knows it needs, because this is cultivating trust with this client's body, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so then, you know, you check in, like, do you feel that? And sometimes it takes a minute to kind of get, because you can kind of blast them with energy and then they're like, that's too much, you know. So you want to kind of have this the right touch energetically for the person.
Wow.
You can
This is
back it
fascinating.
off or
Uh-huh.
increase or whatever.
All right.
So
Wow. What else did you want to share about the work you do here? And if you're just tuning in, Jennifer Knowles, could you remind us of the website and best forms of contact information? And
yeah,
are you on social media as well?
I am, yeah. So my website is blessedbebodywork.com. And I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram, but it's sort of a private account. I really need to get on the social media wagon. But yeah, that's it with social media.
All right.
And you can also email me at blessedbebodywork@gmail.com. So
Perfect. So we talked about some of the modalities you use, such as the Reiki and the polarity. What was it? Polarity therapy. Do I have it right?
yes,
Perfect. Good, good, good. Did
polarity
you want to
therapy.
discuss a few more before we continue?
Yeah, well, so
Craniosacral therapy I read about in your notes.
yeah, so cranial sacral therapy is can be like a physical modality, like structural things. So often you can have like we call an energy cyst in the body, and this can be from trauma. Say you're in a car accident or emotional trauma, or like a guarding around the heart, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so this cranial sacral therapy, along with, you know, helping things like scoliosis, anxiety, depression, post-traumatic stress disorder,
Okay.
TMJ, like all those physical things, many times behind that is possibly a trauma or a way of thinking that's like a pattern of thinking, you know, like a blockage of like, oh, I'm not good enough, or, you know, whatever. And those things could be coming from, say, a parent that might have, you know, thought they weren't good enough and then transferred that to you, or somehow told you that you weren't.
Yep.
And so cranial sacral therapy, along with helping the physicality of the body, can really help release these patterns that are hard to get through, like those things that, you're like, why can't I get over this? But when the body feels it, you can actually
Clearly.
embody that change, and it's easy. It's not like, oh, I'm trying to let go of this. It's like, oh, wow, that's gone,
Yeah.
which is like amazing.
Wow.
Um, so yeah, cranial sacral therapy, and then polarity therapy involves the vagus nerve, which is the 10th cranial nerve, and it goes through your brain and face, neck, heart, lungs, stomach, intestines. It goes through your whole body. So it's really important when this nerve is not regulated that you're able to kind of bring your nervous system back into balance. And so some of the work I do does that. Actually getting physical body work, distance energy work, and there are also a couple of different things you can do to balance the nerve, like humming can be one, tapping, like EFT, emotional freedom
I've heard of
technique.
that. What is that exactly? What does that do? I'm like, I know I've seen people
Yeah,
do it and they tap on certain areas of the
yeah,
face, the head, or maybe your whole
yeah.
body. I don't know.
So EFT, yeah, EFT is like, it's in essence moving energy in your body, right? So there are these points, like, so you tap here and you kind of like talk yourself through it, like, oh, I'm feeling anxious, and then after a few rounds of this, I'm feeling anxious, blah 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 blah. Then all of a sudden you start inviting a like a mantra, like, oh, I'm really calm, and I'm doing great, and I'm really
Like positive
powerful. And
thinking.
yes, and so it's like
Okay.
positive affirmations, and then your
Affirmations. That's the
body
word.
feels it.
Hmm.
Yeah, so it's really like, I feel better already just doing like one round.
Wow. If it was that simple, I would have used both my hands and took them off the board. All right, all right. I'm feeling happy. I'm not tired. I have 2 kids. I am not tired. Do you have any children or no?
I don't.
That's why it looks like you have more energy than me. You look wide awake.
Oh, being a mom is a big job.
Big energy drainer too, but yes, it's a great one.
Oh, mm-hmm.
And how do you
Yes.
physically feel energy? How does it work?
Um, I feel it as so it started off as a vibration, right? So like I put
Mm-hmm.
my hands on the body, I can feel this like anxiety shows up as like a flutter in the body.
Yeah.
Um, or I can see images, like, and
Okay.
it's the weirdest images, like a cheese grater, or like a collar with spikes on it, and that's
Okay.
usually like a trauma around like speaking your truth.
Wow.
um yeah, or like just like fascial lines in the body, like a
Okay.
lot, often our stomach can hold fear, and
Hmm.
so then that's often, attached to the heart, and then we
Okay.
close down our heart.
Gotta ask about the pandemic and anxiety and what it's done to heighten that in all of us. And it changed the
Oh my
world.
god.
How has that affected you personally, your clients, the people you're treating? Because now it seems everyone's so anxious and stressed. I mean, even more so than usual. Would you agree?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely. And I think that although it's unfortunate, it's a perfect time to be doing the work that I'm doing, because people are having long-term COVID
Yeah.
effects.
Mm-hmm.
And I've had a few, like 4 or 5 people who came for one session, and they're like, oh my God, I'm over my long-term COVID, like the foggy brain, the depression, I'm crying every day, and then after 1 or 2 sessions, they're feeling great. So yeah, it's a perfect time for me to be doing this work. And it's really unfortunate that, depression has been up, and
Yep.
substance abuse
Yeah. Domestic
problems. And so,
violence. I mean, everything, you name it.
yeah.
It's been a hard 2 years now. I can't believe it's been well, it was amazing that the surge happened right around the holidays this year. And then that, I mean, who knows what's next, but people losing
I
job,
know.
taking care of their children, homeschooling, reinventing themselves at the
Yeah.
wheel. I mean, these are all things that I'm assuming the anxiety and stress, your energy services can help somebody decrease a lot,
Oh,
probably, right?
definitely. Definitely. And these are all the things that are like almost untangible, like ailments. You know, you go to the doctor and you're like, oh, this hurts, and like I'm
Oh,
having
here's a
this
pill.
manifestation, and you know, and all they do is throw drugs at you. So it's like
Exactly.
my work is working with
Ah,
all those weird things that people go through, you know.
I know. Thank you. I needed a water break myself. Oh, wow. So what else? There's a lot more to you as well. What other aspects of your work would you like our listeners and viewers to know about today?
Yeah, I guess one of the big things is the groups of people that I can help mostly, you know, like some people aren't really open to this type of work, and that's fine, you know, but I would really like to reach the people that do benefit from it, because when they do, it's there are these amazing transformations, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I spoke about the HSP situation. So I brought this book with me to show you guys. And it's Elaine Aron. She coined the HSP idea.
How to,
And so this is for highly sensitive people. This changed my life because I was like, I felt like I was a weirdo. I felt like nobody understood, and I'm just different, and I'm affected more by people's moods, and I'm hyper vigilant, and you know, I have a physical increased central nervous system. Like my central nervous system is more sensitive. So, you know, I walk into a dark room from the light outside and I can't see anything. You know, it's like a physical thing. And when
wow.
I read this book, apparently like 20% of babies, they've done studies, are highly sensitive. So their senses are heightened already
Wow.
when they're tiny little babies. Yeah. So yeah, it just kind of gave me a landing spot. Like, wow, no wonder why nobody really gets it, you know. And I think my dad is also highly sensitive, even though he like, you know, he wants to be a manly man and not admit it, you know. But I think it's inherited.
Mm-hmm.
And so people like this, you know, they have here, I'm just going to read off my little list here.
Sure, go ahead.
Sensitivity to light and sound, sensitivity to caffeine and medications, overwhelm in crowded places. They're affected by energy and the moods of people around them. They startle easily. They often need more sleep than other people. Sometimes they can be like get like a flushed face, like their nervous system is just really
Wow.
functioning,
Uh-huh.
you know, at a higher
And
level.
chest.
And chest, yep, I
That's
definitely fall
another
into
thing.
that category.
Me too.
um, really?
Yeah, I'm always getting
Um,
flushed. And it's not just if I drink a glass of wine, it happens for when I start getting nervous, my face, my cheeks get really red and hot. It feels like, and this gets all red. And I'm like, and
I
I don't
know,
tan.
and
So I'm like,
that's why I've got a scarf on.
I got it. Cause you break out, I get little Hyvee things, little
Me
pimples.
too, yeah. And so another one is some people can get sweaty palms and feet, like
Okay.
their hands are always sweaty. And I've met people, I'm not, that's not how it shows up for me, but I've had people be like, oh my God, no wonder why my hands are always
Yeah.
sweating. Like when they get nervous, that happens.
I have
Um,
hyperhidrosis, which is on the armpits. So I profusely
oh,
sweat.
really?
I was always the doctor diagnosed with that years ago, and I tried a procedure to get rid of it, but I still sweat. Some people sweat their hands, their palms, upper lip, their breasts. I'm a
Huh?
hyperhidrosis in my arm. This is interesting. Wow.
Wow.
I got to find out more about these people, or maybe my people, our
Yes,
people,
you might
Jennifer.
be one of them.
No, really. I've been told I'm
Yeah,
intuitive.
really.
I like. We'll talk more, but continue. Go down the list. I want to make sure we're
Okay.
getting everything that's important to you.
Yes. So one of the other things is that they found that animals actually can fall into these categories too. So, you know, we're humans are animals, and then other animals can also be highly sensitive. Um, and often we fall into, like, if we become tired and overwhelmed easily, and we don't do anything about it, we can fall into that autoimmune disease category if we just continue to give and give and give and not fill our own well. So it is so important. Like every day I'm aware of my energy. Every day I have to fill myself up with energy, because if I don't, then there are places where other people's energy can glom onto me. And then all of a sudden I'm having this like stomach ache and like anxiety attack. And I'm like, where did this come from? Like, is this mine? No, it's not. And so, yeah, it's really important. So I feel like that's my mission, is to help people balance their nervous system, especially if they fall into this HSP category, and allow them a place to feel accepted, supported. And often there are also caretakers for other people, their mothers, they're taking care of their elderly parents, or like they have a loved one that's sick. And it can, the exercises that I can teach people with their energy can help them be more balanced.
Wow.
And so then they're more their true self, instead of acting from this like anxiety place, reaction, fight or flight or freeze mode. I think often freeze is a huge place for people. Like, I can't make this decision because I'm scared of the outcome, or I'm scared of this outcome, I'm scared of that outcome. And so instead I'm just going to stay frozen in this space, where I can't make any decisions.
That's a lot to do with fear, right? Fear of the unknown, fear of the anxiety, the fear of, yeah, I feel it. You mentioned something before of important. It's kind of similar to like the self-care aspect of, you're filling up your own bucket, you said, with your energy every day. It's like that oxygen mask comes down if you're on an airplane. You must put it over yourself first before you can help others. That's what it is, right? And not all of us do that. For us, we burn the candle at both ends sometimes, and that leads to energy disaster, right?
Yeah. Well, and it just jumped out of my head what I was going to say. Oxygen mask. Yeah. And also that has to be independent of like what everybody thinks.
Yep.
Because like our partners, our children, our loved ones, our family, friends, clients, whomever, they all have this idea of what we should be, but like ultimately we need to come back to that trust of self. I know that I need to take care of me, or else I am not going to be useful in any way, really. I mean, it's so important. And as time goes on, it's like I'm, bringing that back more and more. It's a way of life for me now. So.
Oh. Well, we still have 2 minutes left in the show. Just want to make sure we're covering everything.
2 minutes.
Jennifer.
Wow, that went so quick.
I know, right? Doesn't it? All the time. I just looked down. I was like, oh my goodness. What else do you want to share about you and your services before we have to go today? But hopefully we'll be back. We can talk more different topics.
So I just wanted to share, I guess. Sorry, what'd you say?
I said, I'm sure we'll be back again to talk. So we have plenty of time for other topics. But in the meantime, for today, what else did you want our listeners to get out of today's show?
Yeah, so I guess I just wanted to talk about how I love my job, and I'm so fortunate to be able to say that, because for a long time I didn't love, I was an optician for 20 years too. And part of that was working with people. And so I feel like I did energy work for a long time. But every single day I get to refill my own cup by working with other people. And when I give energy work, I get it as well. And so, yeah, it's just, it's a great profession. Like, and so, yeah.
Perfect. And if someone wants to reach out to you, book a session, just curious, when they meet you, discuss the first time, do you know what they need? Do they need to tell you, or you could just kind of sense this might work best on you? What do you ask from a client to give you up front about themselves?
Yeah, well, so I just kind of say, like, why are you calling me? Yeah. Because it's not like you're calling your pulmonologist or something. Like, you're like, there's a reason that they're looking for this type of work.
Got it.
And so from that, like, I do 15-minute free consult over the phone sessions just to feel it out. I want to be sure it's something that will help the person, so it's like, so what has you looking for energy work, and so from there I can kind of tell kind of what they need. Yeah.
Great. Well, thank you for being here, for joining us. If someone does want to reach out, would you mind giving us the phone number, website, all forms of contact for you today?
Sure. Yeah. My website is blessedbebodywork.com, and my email is blessedbebodywork@gmail.com. And you can reach me by text or phone 303-579-6929.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for being here, for joining us and enlightening us today.
Thank you.
How do you, is that namaste? Is that what people,
sort
energy
of.
healers
It's
say?
super
I've learned that. And thank you so much for your time today. Pleasure getting
Thank
to know
you.
you. And thank you to our listeners. We also appreciate you. Stay tuned. More of the show is on the way.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you can now listen live on the MyTuner Radio and online Radio Box apps for iOS, Android, and the Amazon App Store. Or check us out online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com or search Podcast Business News Network on onlineradiobox.com/US so you don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
Mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house. And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned. This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.